They said I could have led a nation, but I chose a smaller battlefield, my hometown, my people. Have you heard of my story? April 10th, 1899. The trenches of Sambat shook with gunfire. American forces were closing in, but I wasn't about to run. Not when my town still had hope. That morning they sent word back. A young soldier named Raymond came rushing to Mahayhay, tears in his eyes. I had fallen, and the town fell silent. But before the war I was just a bow, a violin in my hands, and a love for words, music, and justice in my soul. My first lessons came from my own home. My father Don Baldomero, a teacher from Santa Cruz. My mother Marta, once his student, became his wife. Together they raised me with both discipline and dreams. At 12 I was accepted to Ateneo. Municipal. They said I was gifted in Latin and logic, but what I truly loved was learning itself. I played the violin under the trees of Mahayhay, with friends, with laughter, with no idea a war was coming. Back then peace felt like it would last forever. In 1892 I married Aquilina, my anchor, my strength. That day I thought our story would be simple. A family, a quiet life. 3 daughters followed. Carmen, Felicidad, Magdalena. Our home was warm, full of music and stories. Until duty knocked and everything changed. By 1896 I joined the revolution, not with a sword but with papers, with laws. They named me Juez de Paz, later a judge, then a leader. When the revolution reached our town, I stood before my neighbors. I asked not for applause, only trust. The bells of Mahayhay tolled not for mass but for war. I kissed Aquilina goodbye. My daughters clung to me. One held my leg, one looked away, one slept in her arms. I wanted to stay, but I had to go. We marched through mud and prayer. A small group of volunteers, some with bolos, others with flutes, and in the distance the enemy waited. The trenches were chaos, bullets, smoke, screams. But I stayed beside my men, beside my aide Bruzo, because leaders don't leave the line. Then it hit me. One shot, then another. I collapsed, still clutching my rifle. They said I smiled before I fell. Back home Raymond delivered the news. I had died, and Mahayhay grieved. The bells rang again, this time for morning. They brought me home draped in red. Aquilina stood tall, dressed in black. My daughters beside her. Now fatherless, but never forgot. They laid me to rest outside the church, not as a general, but as a father, a son, a servant of his town. Years passed. The grave grew old, but memory held on. Because stories never truly die. Today my name lives on, a statue, a barangay, a story passed down by blood. Look closer and you might see yourself in it. From street signs to arches to stone, my name stayed. Not in power but in memory. They said he could have led a nation, that he chose to fight for his town, for a country still being born. And now it's our turn to remember. Do we?